Alright, testing. Can you hear me? How's it going? Testing sound. Sound is testing. Keyboards are clicking. Talking is being executed. How's it sound? Alright, testing. Can you hear me? How's it going?
Is it good?
Testing sound.
Cool.
Sound is testing. Keyboards are clicking.
Right,
Talking is executed. How's it sound?
All right.
Alright, testing.
Cool.
Can you hear me? How's it going?
Okay, so we are doing this,
Sound is
like I said,
testing.
casual. Red Bull Battlegrounds was last night, and I was in DC. I ended up literally stopping in DC.
All right.
Or not on the way back from DC. I just stopped at
so
work. I slept on
we
the
are
futon we have in our
doing
operations
this,
center, and that was how I spent my night.
Like I said, casual.
So I'm
Red
back
Bull
now.
Battlegrounds
I'm
was
trying to
last
get
night,
everyone up
and
set
I
in,
was in
and
DC. I ended up
we'll get the show on the road.
literally
So it'll just be about
stopping
another minute or two.
in DC. All right.
Or not
Steve,
on the way
how was
back
your
from DC.
shower?
I just stopped
Okay,
at
so
work. I
tell
slept
us
on the
about
futon we have in our
doing
operations
this,
center, and that was how I spent
Steve.
my night.
Like I said, casual.
So I'm
Red
back
Bull
now.
Battlegrounds
I'm
was
trying to get
last
everyone
night,
up
and
set
I
in,
was in
and
DC. I ended up.
we'll get the. Oh, okay, got it. All right, so I am not hearing sound from the PC, which is fine. I don't need to hear that. Everyone else can hear that. Midday, how you doing? I'm well. I'm well. How was your Monday? That's always a good Monday. Is that Steve coming back? Yep. Things are looking a little different, guys. Hey, they're saying they can't hear you. Sam, go ahead, talk. Don't know why they can't hear you. Alright. Sam, are you gonna put your cam on? Cool. We just need Kevin's, and then we're good to go. Oh, look at that. Cool. So we got that one. Boop, boop, boop. There we go. Look at that. I'm definitely glad we went with the overlay this time. It makes everything look much better. Yeah, this is my XSplit lesson for all you guys. Turn that chat off. I can see you guys a little bigger. Perfect. All right, getting your pictures in now. Yeah, I hear that I should use Open Broadcast. I was using it for all my other streams and Gosu Pizza and all that, but I looked at XSplit and I thought it was pretty cool. Steve, what do you use? Yeah? So it can do like all the same stuff that I saw a funny video of you today, Steve. It's gonna be Alright, so for those joining, wonder why it's going a little slow. Coming back from DC and work. Just making things take a hot minute to get put together. Alright, there's two. And we're going a little faster. Kevin, where'd you get the that WCS banner from? Which season was that? Nice. I tried snagging some stuff from Red Bull, and but it was all like sticky, the one-time use kind of stuff, and I didn't catch it in time, so it crumpled. Yeah, it's good stuff though. Did you get a chance to watch some of the stuff that actually showed the inside of the building? They had on the edges of the building, they had these like giant arcs on the inside, and they had all the players' faces up on them, and it was actually like a wallpaper that they put up that stuck over it, but it doesn't like rip paint off or anything like that. It was very nice. It kind of looked like Iron Chef, like you expected them to come up out of the floor. Alright, it's the last scene, and then we're good to go. I know, Channel Man had a much better production than I did. Ignore the fact that it says 5 minutes. It's not going to do that. I'm just putting it there. All right. And here we go.
So dirty.
All right. So the sound is not playing out for everyone else. All right, I guess we're gonna have to go with the shitty microphone because this one, when I use it, no one can hear anything. So give me a second. All right. If you guys can hear the sound, let me know.
I can hear the sound.
All right. Go ahead and say something, Destiny.
Hey, what's up?
So good at the mic check.
Right?
Mic check 1, 2, 3, 4.
All right, cool. They can hear you. All right. So, hey, welcome to the second episode of the late game. Still not every issue worked out, but I think we're getting a little better. Each and every time, everything's going to be a little bit better. Now we have overlays. They might not have all the names on them, but I think you guys know who everyone is. Oh, you are correct. Midday is overflowing into QXC.
That's scary.
There we go. All right. Now QXC is overflowing to Midday. It's all right. It looks a lot better than it did before, so we're gonna be happy with that. Okay. So everyone, welcome. My name is Lycan, and with me I have two amazing guests and my co-host. Up in the top right we have. God, it sounds like I'm introducing a game. Up in the top right we have QXC with Complexity. To the left, you have his teammate, also with Complexity. It is Midday. In the bottom left, you have the one and only Steven Bonnell and myself, Lycan, the incompetent show host who promises that next week almost everything will go right. We're getting better. Little bits and pieces come together each time. But the dog is not in here, and he's not here to bark and make noise, so that is a plus. We're already off to a good start. No interruptions there. So let's do a little bit of pre-show banter. Steven, what'd you do this weekend?
I played me lots of CSGO. I
Yeah?
watched a few of the Red Bull matches. I saw the finals between Bomber and Kier, and I saw the games that Scarlet played against Parting.
And so how's the CS:GO going? Are you gold yet?
Yeah, I'm Gold Nova.
Oh yeah.
Finally. The
So-
dream. Do you play? Does anyone else? Do you play any CS:GO? QXC?
No, I played Source back in high school. I haven't played Counter-Strike at all for a long time.
Fucking shitter. Do you play any CS:GO Midday?
No.
Man. Oh, all right. Never mind.
I play it, but it's I've never gone into ranked. I don't want to. I learned my lesson with Starcraft, where I started is right away in the ladder, and took me a long time to get out of bronze. So,
Nice.
So what lesson did you learn?
not to screw up your MMR right away.
Okay, that's not the lesson I would learn from that.
Oh, that was the lesson I learned as a new player, because I thought, maybe later on I could have gotten to silver. I don't know. It's that dumb logic of the amount of games you win. It's not looking at the ranking as, that's exactly the skill I have. And it's not necessarily the case. So I don't like to go into ranked games all the way, like with Hearthstone either. I do the unranked until I get really good. So I don't.
Yeah, I like to not have the game tell me how good I am either. That way I can deceive myself.
I was gonna say, yeah, it depends on how you view the ladder. I don't mind. I usually jump right into ranked of anything I play. If I'm shit at the beginning, like I know it. I was shit at CS:GO. I still am in a shit rank. I mean, I don't give a fuck. I don't know. You could play a bunch. I guess you can play a whole bunch and then jump into it when you feel you're ready. But I don't know if you'll ever be at a point where you'll feel you're ready with that kind of mentality.
Yeah,
Like if
I
you're good
agree.
enough for StarCraft 2. Like let's say that you like jump in, you start playing in your bronze, and you're like, fuck, this sucks. And then after like 1,000 games, you're like, you finally get silver. Like, fuck, if I would have just waited, I could be like platinum by now or whatever. Like, I don't know if that's necessarily true.
Yeah, I
Not
don't
to
think that's
mention-
how it works at all.
Yeah, not to mention the fact that if you wait to play and you actually are legitimately platinum, at that point you might be like, well, why would I jump in and start laddering now when I'm platinum and I can wait a little bit longer and maybe be diamond and then maybe masters, and then why would I start at masters when I could just wait until I'm good at, like, I don't know, it seems kind of
Yeah.
I think the
recursive
game,
or something.
I think the game that I really started getting that feeling was with Hearthstone. I just started playing Hearthstone right away. I didn't really think about it, and after that, that was the kind of like when I did start getting good. I felt, maybe I would have been a little bit higher in the rankings. And this was back when it actually had like that MMR style ranking, and I felt that I could have done a lot better if I had waited and so it was just a little demoralizing. It's not really a
Why would you do? Well, why would you do better if you waited though?
Yeah, I don't understand this logic. Like, what does waiting?
I wouldn't
like,
do better. It's I wouldn't have had to have played
think
so
your
many
rank
more
would be higher?
games. Once I figured the game out, I wouldn't have had to have played so many games to get.
Yeah, but
up
the
there.
games
You
that
can
you
figure it out
play
at
when
rank.
when you don't play ladder though, you're playing garbage. Like casual in Hearthstone is so much worse than ranked in Hearthstone. I hate playing casual because the games are so much weaker. It's the same thing. Like I play League of Legends a little bit. I don't play it that much, but I hate playing normals in League of Legends. It's nothing to do with my rank.
Oh,
It's because
God.
everyone's so stupid in normals. People are so uncoordinated. Like the game isn't even fun because everybody's just derping around doing whatever they want. Like I would always play the ranked mode of a game because it's more interesting. The skill level is higher,
Sure.
there's a better challenge. Like people actually are trying to win much more than in any other game mode.
I feel like it's like the difference between playing like even if you don't want to be like a professional poker player, like you can't really play poker without having money on the line because
Yeah.
things get just stupid. Like you'll have like that one friend. If you've ever played fucking poker with like MC, like he's that guy who like all ins every other hand. He's like, oh, and it's like, I mean, congratulations. Like if you're not playing for money, it's like, well, I mean, what the fuck is the point of this? I mean, that's personally how I feel. Like if I play like any game and I'm not playing on the ranked, even if I'm fucking total shit at it, like CS:GO, like I'm really bad at CS:GO. But like if I would go and play like unranked, it's like, well, fuck, these guys are just jumping around. Like even if I win games, like I don't necessarily feel good about it because it's just fucking unranked. Like I don't even know who I'm better than right now. Like these guys could literally be, like 9-year-old like with fucking Parkinson's, and this is like the first game they played, and they want it. Like it's like okay, I mean, not to knock on people with anything like that, but
No, I agree. It's not logical. There's nothing that like genuinely. There's no genuine good reason for me to do it. It is a complete psychological thing where I think.
But what me and
I wish
QXC
I
are saying
hadn't
is
done that.
we need you to not embrace the irrationality. You need to step into the light and just play
Yeah,
ranked games
well,
and be shit, and then just
actually-
level up that way.
For me, it's okay. If you say that, if you accept that you're being illogical, I'm kind of, my job here is done. And
Yeah.
you can live in this own like little illogical world that you enjoy, but
Well, it's like I know on the
that's all.
ladder. I know on the ladder on Starcraft that I'm shit, and that it's when I start winning games, that means something. But otherwise, I'm at the skill level I'm at by the rank. I am playing with whatever these bronze leaguers at, whatever that measure of skill is.
the thing about
Not bronze,
StarCraft
gold.
and basically every online game, though, is you should always be going roughly 50%. In every single game, like the only people that aren't going 50% are people who
best
make
players
new
in the world.
accounts or the like top 0.001% of the population. Because every time you get better, you should get matched against people who are also better. And only the people who are actually like the best in either the region or the ladder should actually be consistently maintaining above a 50% win rate. So it's like if you're looking at ranked as a way of like feeling good about yourself, you're like, oh, the more I win, like the better it is. Like that's just bullshit. Because
Yeah, because you can't have a good win ratio underneath like top 50 GM. Like it should just never ever happen unless
Right.
you do something artificial. Like if you tank your MMR at the very start, you go 0-10, and then you go like 30-0 or something like that. Then yeah, I mean like there are ways you can do that.
yeah, but that's meaningless because you're just like beating scrubs is not.
But it's not meaningless, QXC, because we assign meaning to things in our life, and if that means a lot to us, then
Well,
it means something.
If you're improving, a win rate should go above 50, right? Like in order to get promoted, you need to win more than you lose.
Yeah, but then you're gonna get matched against people who are better than you were before, and your
Yeah,
win rate
Right,
will
but
probably
we
drop.
were
I mean,
talking about.
If you're improving, like you'll be above 50, but it'll be like what, like 55 at the most, like around there, because like QXC said, especially if you start racking up wins in a row, like you're gonna be hitting much better players very quickly, and it'll shut that down like super fast.
It does.
Yeah, I was just going back to the original point of him saying like feeling good about winning, and it's like feeling good about improving, winning along those lines.
Sure.
Well, yeah, no, I mean, but every 2 weeks I start going on these really big win streaks, and I get up there, and then I start hitting the people that are MMR decay, that are just not playing a lot, so they haven't been promoted yet. I hit those people that are really
MMR decay is like for me. I haven't played on my main account on NA since like I think like last year literally, and So a couple of weeks ago, I started playing, and I'm like, I guess my MMR must have decayed to shit. The first game I hit is Huck, and the second game I hit is Supernova, and I'm like, MMR decays a myth. I can't.
Well, it's like when you see this guy that hasn't played. I look at their match history and I see he hasn't played in 10 weeks, right? So this is his first of 3 games. He's going to be back up there in a couple games. I just happen to be the unlucky cock that got nailed with him.
But okay, so the problem.
Are you saying that you're hitting this guy all the time? Because,
No.
Like,
It's
the
not.
basis of this argument says that you should barely ever be playing someone like that if they are only playing one game every 10 weeks. Like,
No. It's not just MMR decay. It's I go 10 games in a row and I'm winning. So then I start playing the platinum players or the people that were diamond last season or 3 months ago. Those people that are going to have mechanics that are way better than mine. Those are the people that I start to hit. So it's not just MMR decay. It's also the people that don't play enough to get promoted.
Wait.
Okay, but now it
promotion
sounds
has-
like you're getting in this area where it's like I think I should maybe be ranked higher, but now I'm beating people or I'm matched against people that are ranked higher, and I don't want to play against people that are better than me. I only want to beat people that are worse than me.
No.
Like,
Not saying that at all.
sense.
Not saying that at all. I am saying that's why and then I get knocked down, and then I get in a bad mental state, and then I'll lose a couple games in a row, and
So it sounds like you don't like losing.
I don't. Who does like losing? I like learning and growing and improving.
I get
But-
so bored when I win all my games.
I don't want to win it. I don't want my games to be stomps either. But I do want to know that I'm being. What I'm saying is when you go. I was going off the point of what you made about going really fast, getting win after win after win, then getting matched against people that are far more advanced than you are. I want that steady incline. I want to win 3, then lose 1, win 2, then lose 1, something like that. That steady climb.
But I mean, eventually you have to hit a point where it's like win 1, lose 1, win 1, lose 1, win 2, lose 3, win 3, lose 4. Like that's going to happen where eventually you hit that point where you start going 50-50. Like there's no way that you can steadily improve consistently as you're playing at such a rate that you can maintain a 60+% win ratio starting from broad, silver, gold, master, or even fucking diamond or platinum. Like there's no way that that's sustainable. That in no universe will you ever be improving so fast that like you take a legitimate platinum player who's like, all right, I won 10 games in a row. My skill level is now mid diamond. Then all right, I just won 10 games in a row. My skill level's mid masters. Like that never works out. Like at some point you have to hit those points. Like for me, that's always the fun part for me, right? Is when you hit the point that you're talking about. Those are the most. Obviously, the mindsets, the mentalities are different from person to person, but when you hit the person where it's like, man, you just got smacked the fuck down, those are the funnest things because that's where you can start to see like, okay, well, this is the gap between where I am and where I want to be, right? Mm-hmm. And the most exciting moments aren't the moments where it's like, I look at my record at the end of the day and I've got, 75% win ratio. It's it's the moment where it's like, fuck. It's the moment where it's like, hey, this Ling Rush, like this gas pool hatch build used to always kill me 100% of the time. But I moved my gas timing up like 2 drones, and I took my hatch, 1 drone later, and I started, bailing at sport speed, and now I actually always beat that rush, right? Like those should be the cool moments where things that used to beat you, you start to counter them and you actually improve as a player. And as that happens, like the MMR or an ELO system or a ranking system, those should always be a function of your improvement, not like the actual like goal. Like It's never like I come on today and my goal is to win 10 games in a row, right? It should be I come on today and my goal is to counter a build that's always killed me, and as a result of that, like I win 10 games in a row, in my opinion.
Play games and actually feel like you're improving, feel like you're learning. Like the easiest way to get into the trap that Steven's talking about is just to play too much. Like the more you play in a row without really taking breaks or taking care of yourself, the more important the wins become. So you're not all of a sudden you're not playing to improve, you're playing just because you want to see the points go up. And that's like the most toxic, worst way to approach it.
Exactly, because the problem then is that when you take a look at things like, do you like winning or do you like losing? For me personally, when I play Starcraft, as long as I'm not being an asshole, like wins are kind of worthless to me. Like if I win a game, it doesn't mean anything. Like okay, well I won, I was better than the guy you fucked up. If you lose a game, then it's like okay, I lost, I have to change something, right? And that's where the improvement comes in. If you play 10 games in a row and you win every single game, then more or less you walk away that day from your computer not improving at all. Because what do you really need to change? Like your mechanics will get a little bit better as by nature of just playing more, but the real things that you have to learn aren't being shown to you because you just won 10 games in a row. Why would you change anything dramatic about your play? Whereas you step on and you get fucking ass smashed fucking 4 or 5 games in a row, and it's like, well, fuck, like I have to change something, you know? And there oh my god, you could talk for hours about this, but like there are so many different like traps that you run into with that mindset. And you've actually you inadvertently said like a few of them. The idea that like, well, I do really good, but then I hit this point where I hit all these Smurfs or I hit all these people that just their MMR decayed, and I hit all these people, and it's like, well, like, do you really think you should just be stomping over all of these people who are ahead of you just because you were stopping some people who are evenly rated with you? Like, that's one pitfall you hit. Another pitfall is where you feel disgusting after you lose a game. This happens a lot in League of Legends because of the way the rating system goes. You finally get up to like those 92 points, 100 points, you're in your promotion series, and then you lose the promotion series, and then you like lose 2 games, and you're down to 80 points, and you're petrified. You don't even want to play another game because it's like, fuck, if I lose more games, I might fall. I'm gonna fall that further out of my promotion series, or I'm gonna get demoted, or like all of a sudden like everything becomes fixated on the points, which are only supposed to be a secondary thing to say like, oh, like this guy's this good, not like the primary focus. Like, I'm gonna log on today and I'm gonna get 52 points, or I'm gonna log on today and I'm gonna win 12 games in a row. Like, it's my goal, you know, right?
No, I completely agree with you. And like kind of with the last part you said is what I really agree with is the fear. You know, I'm getting closer to promotion, and then I start playing, you know, nothing but platinum players, and I start thinking, oh, I'm gonna get it. I'm gonna get that promotion. And then you're right. I do feel disgusted after I lose, and it's not. I'm not thinking logically in that moment. The same reason people BM. You don't really hate that guy. He's not a douche. He won the game.
I do.
Outplayed you.
Some people,
especially depending on who they.
I mean, you know, it is completely illogical for me to be personally offended every time a Dark Templar gets into my base. What I should be doing is thinking, why did it get in my base? Did I not scout it? Did I scout it and not react? Why didn't I build a turret? I need to be thinking that way, but I put too much value in the win instead of putting value in my own improvement and progression as a player.
I can answer that question. It's because he played Protoss, and I can say that because there's no other Protosses in this panel right now.
Even if there was a Protoss, we could still say that.
Oh.
Wait, say which part applies only to Protoss?
Just being dirty. Hating them as a person.
Yeah. All right, so we're gonna load up into the show match. I'm gonna start inviting you guys.
God, you got my.
Oh my fucking god!
What's that?
I'm gonna miss game 1, okay?
You're helping casting game 1.
Dog, I fucked up really bad. All right.
What'd you do?
Uh-oh.
I don't have StarCraft 2 downloaded. I just
knew
put
you were
the
gonna say
computer
that.
together
I
like
knew
2
you were
days
gonna
ago. I
say
didn't put
that.
StarCraft on it yet.
Okay.
I literally just finished this computer like a day or 2 ago, and I haven't put StarCraft on it yet. I'm fucked. I'm downloading it now. Hold on. Rip. All right, no, don't hold on. Just do like the first game without me. Keep talking.
God. All right, hold on.
Can you?
Yeah, much more. Yeah, seriously, Destiny, where's your passion, man?
Yeah, the
My
chat.
passion is in CS:GO, dog. You said you saw the videos.
Oh.
You have videos?
Oh, I'm gonna play it right now while we figure this out. God, damn it!
I'm so bad, dude. I'm so bad. The video of me is the equivalent of like somebody landing like a good storm and killing 8 Marines and then like going fucking crazy over it. It's pretty much that.
It was pretty. I laughed pretty hard. Oh,
I
man.
liked all your old videos from like all the shit with Kyle and the banelings and the speedlings wrapping around the waist.
Wow.
A lot of good. Yeah, you've got a lot of good old videos.
All right, we're gonna put this in the. Gonna put that there.
Just open up StarCraft. It's like install. You're like, oh shit. So what happened to your other computer? Don't you just like have another one that you could?
Well, I took some parts from that computer to put into this one.
Oh.
All right. Good God. So here's the video with Destiny.
How fast is your internet? How long do you think it'll take to download?
Oh.
I'll tell you.
All right. Adjust that a little bit, and here we go. And watch your ears, because they will hurt after this.
full screen crosshair is the best crosshair. Why did his allies like completely?
Hey, how can I find this video, Destiny? What do I have to search?
It's on the stream right now. I'm watching it.
What the fuck?
Oh,
Just
I'm
go
not-
to my YouTube.
I'm not-
YouTube.com/.
I don't know. I've never been there.
Well, make sure to like, follow, subscribe, check me out on Instagram, Facebook, Pinterest, whatever.
Is
All
it
this.
the bottle identity?
Sorry.
All right,
Oh my God,
what is this crosshair? Are you serious?
Dude, come on, this crosshair's fucking legendary, dog.
Oh,
that headshot you did.
It was the luckiest fucking shot.
You like that shit.
that was wonderful.
I'm so excited. All right. I'm watching.
You know.
It's so laggy. Why is it lagging? Why is YouTube lagging? That's so weird.
Fucking YouTube.
All right.
All right, well, you know what? We can just go with the rest of the show. We don't have to do the show match now. So let's just continue on while Destiny downloads his passion.
Yep.
And
Downloading now, huh?
carry on. All right, let me do the little fun thing. I'm going to adjust my ESPN style highlighter, and we're going to go over Red Bull Battlegrounds. All right.
Steven, that's pretty good. I like that video.
All right.
So
So,
the show match is going to happen later.
yeah. So, Red Bull Battlegrounds. How much of the tournament do you guys get to catch? Midday?
Not that much.
No?
There wasn't even that much Zerg either. Right?
Yeah.
Zergs played early, and they died early. And I was like,
Yeah,
oh.
what's this bullshit? Fucking 3 Terrans, 1 Protoss? What the fuck?
The power, right? The power.
Yeah, no.
My
crazy.
Zerg bros.
Let's
The,
not forget Kespa Cup. Kespa Cup was pretty Zerg owned. Let's see, Kespa Cup Wikipedia.
I mean, that's how the Korean tournaments have been for a while, except for Sioux. It's like Protosses and Sioux,
Yeah,
And also-
zero
Terrans.
Zergs in the round of 8. All the Zergs got eliminated in the round of 16 by good Protosses, I will say.
Holy shit, when was the last time we had a Zerg buff? Are we gonna get one soon, Davey? Yeah? What were they
I
don't
buff?
think- Based on recent trends, maybe 1 or 2 more months of Zergs getting owned and everything, they'll probably get buffed.
Shit. I can't even imagine what would change.
that's weird because I
we
would.
got like
I'd say about 3 months ago, I was feeling that Zerg was on the rise. That Zerg was taking a lot of power, especially in ZVT.
You wanna know what would be broke as fuck? The best change in the world is that, okay, Hive Tech upgrade, you could call it like some Zergy thing, DNA recombinant bullshit, right? So what would happen is, okay, you should get Vipers and Infestors, and the Viper would come down, and there would be like a 30-second morph time or whatever, where it would pick up the Infestor, and then they would be one unit, so you could cast all the spells from one thing, so you don't have to hotkey them in 2 separate things. Controlling Infestors and Vipers at the same time is so fucking annoying. If you could have it all in one unit, oh my god, that would be so fucking sick. I'd be happy with that buff. I could be
Wait.
fungling with my Vipers and shit.
But would you still only have 200 total energy? Or would you
I don't know.
400 energy?
Nah, we'll say 200
the
total energy
Fester?
because they still have like the consume thing. We'll just say 200 total energy. We'll just keep it at that. That's fine.
So
okay
you're gonna
with
take 2 units. It's interesting because you're trading off the reduced amount of mana, so like reduced spellcasting for the ease of use. I'm impressed, Destiny. That was a very reasonable
Thank
thing
you.
to propose.
Thank you.
I was expecting something a lot crazier.
And if the unit dies,
Yeah, look how expensive.
350 gas, 200 minerals.
Oh my fucking god! Could you imagine flying 9 Vipers into someone's base and laying down infested Terrans and flying away? The infested Terrans, that would be another part of the buff. The infested Terrans would be air units. That's another thing.
That's
So they
absurd.
like,
Absurd. They'd be like auto
infested-
turrets.
What would they could be infested Reapers. Except they're so light, so the Reaper jets just keep them constantly
Yeah,
flying.
yeah, because they're infested. They like hollow out and that could be like the lore, like the Zerg parasites hollow out the inside so that the Reaper booster is actually capable of
A sustained flight.
Yes, exactly.
Oh my god.
Perfect. David Kim, I know you're watching. Get on this.
All right, so as far as let's just talk about Red Bull in general before we move into actual games and all that. The production. I don't think that Red Bull is really matched by anyone production wise. Even WCS finals are not as good as the Red Bull finals are. Maybe GSL, but maybe the Pro League finals from this year were pretty good. I didn't obviously see it in person, but Red Bull, the production value at the live venue, and then from the stream side, I haven't checked out any of the VODs other than just gameplay. Do you guys get to watch any of the stream, any of the production stuff?
I always felt that
Oh my god.
Red Bull has like really good production, more so than because before Red Bull it was like everybody was praising DreamHack, and GSL sometimes would be sketchy, and there would be long downtimes and wait times. But I think Red Bull has brought like a lot of more respectability to the ending land scene. I think it's really good for us.
Yeah, I think this is where we should have been at like 2 years ago. I think Red Bull has their shit down to a fucking T. Their production is sick. The camera shots are sick. The audience noise, like there's a lot of things that we're not talking about right now that we've talked about other terms, like things like things that we take for granted, or like the fact that they always have the sound done really well, the audience micing's done really well, the game volume, like I don't know, Red Bull is like sick as fuck. They're so good with what they do, in all of these tournaments.
They really are. And speaking of the audience sound, this venue, right? It wasn't huge. It wasn't Hammerstein Ballroom. I think it like had a few hundred less than Hammerstein could have held. Maybe a few hundred, maybe 1,000. Either way, that's a big difference. Point is that the way this venue was constructed, the sound was just so much better than it could have been, and the crowd was enthusiastic. So it was just you could not hear anything. You could not hear a caster, nothing when the crowd went off, and it was a really incredible experience. And I was thinking that I went to last year's BlizzCon finals. Granted, there was just no wind in the audience after SOS won. Like, no one wanted him to win. Everyone wanted Jaedong, and after, no one was happy. So, I feel that Red Bull has put on a far better production than WCS, and WCS should be in that position. WCS should be the one putting that big event on. And I don't feel like holding it at a convention where a bunch of other things are going on is doing that any justice.
By the way, just a quick discussion. I read the chat, and some guys like, it's the guy on the bottom right, the guy who got wrecked by Suppy. If you're talking about slow bailing drops, yeah, that was him.
Yeah, that was me.
Wow.
Yeah. So you're saying that in general events shouldn't be held in conventions or things because of the inability to control all the factors and
No.
things like that?
No, I'm just...
Wait, no, okay, wait. If that's not what you said, what did you just say?
What I'm saying is that I think the Red Bull Finals is a much nicer production than WCS Finals.
Okay, sure. I think that's fair.
Yeah?
Me too.
I don't know what we're talking about now. What?
I guess, okay.
Yeah. Do we want to talk about the philosophical idea behind doing a smaller venue that will almost certainly sell out or be overfilled versus overshooting and getting a larger venue that might not possibly fill and like looking bad and not having as good of an audience? Is that
No, I'm not saying that...
I think it's always better to have it sold out. I'd rather, as a player, when I look at a venue and it's sold out, that looks really good to me, because it means that the people in charge of the organization accurately gauged, at least to some extent, like how many people were going to come.
You're right. Nothing.
What?
You said accurately gauged, and I just remembered standing in line for 15 hours.
Oh my god.
I don't know why you just reminded me of that. Sorry, keep going.
15 hours for what?
Don't worry about it. When I see a convention that doesn't have all the seats filled, it strikes me as like the organization was unable to figure out like exactly how many people were going to come, or at least they were not close enough, and that they're also probably wasting money by getting a venue larger than they can actually fill. And so it feels healthier when the venue is completely full, even if it's oversold and there's like some number of people that can't get in. That means it's more exclusive and there's like more hype or whatever around it.
For sure. If you had like if you have a venue that can hold 10,000 people and you sell 5,000 seats, that's always going to look worse than a venue that can hold 4,000 people that sells like 4,000 seats and then it's like
Yeah.
overflowing. Like, you would feel better like with a 5-inch dick and a 4-inch vagina than a 9-inch dick that only fucks girls with like 12-inch dicks. Like even though technically one is better, it just doesn't feel that way. I think.
Well, but so in this instance though, there's you have to consider that there's a cost associated with the space that they rent. The larger the space,
Oh, sure.
in general, the more it's going to cost.
I'm not even thinking about it so much from a cost kind of analysis.
Oh,
'Cause
you
I'm
just
pretty
mean
sure
pure
Red Bull-
aesthetics?
I just mean I'm just saying it pure
Yeah.
aesthetically. You
I
can
agree
also
with
kind
that.
of like because there's a big psychological factor between remember the early NASL shots with like all or the best example, remember the GSL studio shots with all the empty chairs and shit. Like it doesn't
Yeah.
look good. And
Yeah,
like we
it looks-
complained about you always complained about chairs and shit like at the MLGs like oh there's never enough chairs. Like we always said that, but in a way that was kind of like a backhanded compliment. Like there are so many people here, like we never have enough chairs, and it didn't feel good. The last MLG, if anybody went there, when you went to that MLG and there were way more than enough chairs, that felt so much more dead than having people fucking lining up, standing on the side, trying to watch because there are no chairs available.
Yeah. I think it's better to have the venue look really packed. Like people, because like if it's especially when it's packed and you have places like MLG where there's literally no seats left, but people can still watch. When you look at the crowd, you get the feeling that these people really want to be here. They're willing to be uncomfortable, to be in this very like tight area in order to watch these games, and that reflects better than like there's tons of chairs, people could be sitting and checking out these games, and they just don't care.
This guy should be going into propaganda, doing what looks best.
Can you stop reading the chat and start just paying attention to the conversation?
Shots
That would make
fired.
me feel better.
So anyway, I guess the what I was saying overall is that I feel that Red Bull puts on a great production and they do it closed off in their own venue, and I feel that BlizzCon, maybe it's because they were putting so much money and time and effort into everything else going on there. You've got the arena finals. What you're gonna have Hearthstone again this year, and you have the announcements. You have all that Blizzard stuff that takes away from this is the Starcraft WCS finals. Fuck yeah! And so I guess we, to some degree, are all agreeing on that point. So there's really nothing to talk about.
I agree.
I'm not sure what point you were trying to make, but I'm going to go with it.
All right, cool.
Yeah.
You mentioned earlier that I should look at chat. I just realized what you said was an insult.
That's because you're not paying attention to the conversation.
No, I am.
There's 4 people on the show, but only 3 of them are actually listening.
Oh, he's just waiting. He's just waiting for him to pop in. I'm just talking a lot now because when you guys start going over all the other tournaments that I didn't watch, I'm not going to be saying shit. So might say no.
All right, so we're gonna move on now. Steve, did you watch the Scarlet parting game?
Yeah, I did. Those were fucking awesome.
All right. Really? Or is that just like a generic, oh, those were fucking awesome. I put my input in.
Scarlet sure did Zerg him to death. Yeah. It's very rare that this happens, at least in Starcraft. I mean, I say that, but I don't watch enough games, so it might not be true anymore. But back when I would at least watch like a few, I remember, I might be like romanticizing it, but I remember in the Brood War days, it wasn't uncommon for people to specially craft builds for different maps, for different matchups, and even to different players. And when you're watching games like that, where you have players that are capable of like handcrafting builds to work in a certain, even in like a specific series, those series are infinitely more exciting. Like the degree of excitement that exists there, like you can't even measure it versus just watching like 2 good players playing standard games against each other. Not that there's anything wrong with standard games, but like the series between Scarlet versus Fighting, like both of those games were really exciting to watch. You knew that like Scarlet had like each of those builds lined up, like going in, like the hatch inside the base with the fast burrow, the fucking 2-base swarm host play on the shitty fucking winter map, whatever the fuck that map is called, King Sejong Station.
Mm-hmm.
Watching games like that, like I don't know, like if every game was like that, I mean, fuck, like it's so much more interesting to see players having to like think and react on the fly. You know, it's why a lot of people like watching Cats games. You know, even if you think he's a shit player, he's gimmicky or whatever, it's interesting to see what do people do when they're thrown into situations that they're not comfortable with. Because as soon as one thing goes awry, one person does something weird, everything that happens after that is like a unique experience. You know, it's not just another like, oh well, we're at the 8 minute of you know, a TVP where it's time to see, you know, like, oh, Terran's got medevacs, or like, oh, we're in the late game of the, you know, the ZVT, and we're seeing if we get a good bailing hits. Like everything is just so much more unique when you get to like those specially prepared builds, like in series. I really, really like that series.
And I interviewed her after those, and that's exactly what happened. Is she said that the game one, it just worked out perfectly. For those who didn't get the chance to see game one, she goes proxy in base hatch, and she said she had that plan for that map specifically, and it just worked out that he went forge first.
Yeah, I agree with what you're saying, Steven. And in terms of comparing this to Brood War, probably the biggest reason that that type of play doesn't exist as much in StarCraft 2 is because there's just so many tournaments. You know, I don't have time to craft a build for every single player I'm going to play. Like, I could go to a tournament and play 10 different people, and you know, a lot of those super unique special builds don't really work if your opponent knows that they're coming. Like if Parting was the fifth Protoss that Scarlet had played at the tournament, she'd already used the build 2 or 3 times. You know, like he's going to have a response prepared for it. Whereas
Yeah, sure.
when it hits you the first time, like yeah, like what the hell is that? I don't know. You know, you see the hatchery build and you're like, what is she planning here? And it was really cool to watch, but uh, I think just the sheer volume of matches that to be a successful StarCraft 2 pro gamer, you you have to be able to beat, you know, 8 to 10 people, different people in a row in the span of 1 or 2 days. And that's just how the scene is. If the foreign scene was operated more like Pro League, where you have, you know, 1 match a week, 1 game a week, or 1 game, 2 games a week, or whatever,
old
then
old GSL, right?
yeah, well then you can do stuff like that.
Hmm.
But as long as tournaments are like these marathon affairs, it's just not possible.
Sure. I think there is something to be said though for even if it's not like specially prepared, just having like a different amount of strategies that you can pull out on different maps versus just being like, oh, like this is a macro player or this is a cheese player. I think Violet is a really good example. If any of the games, any of the sets you've watched recently with Violet, he seems to have like I don't know, like he has fucking like 50 million fucking builds. Like I have no idea watching any game what he's ever gonna do because it seems like he can do so many different things, and it makes watching any game with him like really exciting because it's like, the fuck is Violet gonna do this game? Like you never go into it and are like, oh, first 5 minutes ZVT, you got Zerg taking the expansion, oh, laying down the fast third, spreading the creep, you know, like every other opening for ZVT, you know, like everything seems to be like really unique with him. I like that. I like that. From a viewer perspective, I guess, I should say.
So before we go a little further into this and start getting into the second game, which is what I want to talk about it, I know that some people were wondering why we didn't have a Protoss. We did, wasn't able to come. It's all good. I consider QXC to be an expert enough player that he can fill in for any kind of Protoss defense that we need to talk about. And fortunately for me, he has the bias of the other side that his analysis might be a little Terran favored. Either way, so the build was the 2 base swarm host build with the Nidus, right? And I've heard from a lot of Protoss that is an extremely difficult build to deal with. Steven, you ever do it to Protoss?
Dude, I went to the fucking. I did this build so long ago. I'm not trying to say like I'm the one that invented or anything. I'm sure she didn't even know I did it. But I remember I was doing this build for a long time. If you watch my stream, there was like a 2 month period where I did it. It was like a free win against any Protoss. It was incredibly aggravating. It was so fucking brokenly fucking powerful. Nobody knew how to deal with it back at the time. I remember Petraeus was playing on his Korean GM account, and I was like fucking was like, dog, like this build's unbeatable. Like trust me, like let me fucking do it. Like I'll fucking be. I thought I was gonna get raped, and I legit fucking raped the shit out of this top 100 GM Korean Protoss player. Like it wasn't even fucking close. How fucking funny the game was. Like, oh my god, dude, it's really good. If you, especially like, obviously after a while it didn't work because Protoss figured out Swarm Host, and like anybody that did 2 base Swarm Host style, if people knew about it, you know, there are ways to deal with it. You know, you rush Phoenix or an Observer Templar, whatever. Like there are different ways to deal with it. But like if you're not ready Like that's the kind of build. It actually reminds me of like how Protoss Elements used to be. That's the kind of ZVP build where if you're not ready for it and it catches you off guard, you're fucking done. You don't win the game at that point because once the Swarm hosts start fucking piling up, you don't have the Colossus out in time. You don't have like an observer or some way to deal with it. You're stuck. You're stuck on two bases because your third base is dying hella fast. The options for counterplay is very limited. It's very easy to pull back for some Swarm hosts to your main and defend. The Zerg is playing incredibly cost effectively. You can carry on that game. You can go 20, 25 minutes on two base alone with Swarm hosts, and you can max out on it and get a Spire and build credits. Like it's insanely fucking powerful.
All right.
Yep.
Wow.
It's pretty funny. It's pretty good. I think that game versus Parting and Scarlet, I think Parting actually lost that game like 15 minutes into the game. I think most people probably agree. He lost the game really early on, and he tried to hang on for like a long time. And there were a couple points where it kind of sort of looked like he was kind of sort of swinging it back, like when he picked off like the third or whatever. That was just Scarlet being lazy, I think. I think that she had actually won that game pretty early.
I saw the build orders at the start, and Parting went like Nexus, into Gate, into Fast Third, into Blink, then a Robo, and it was like Scarlet had a pretty good build to fight it. And the point where I thought Parting might have had a shot is when Scarlet Nidus the. Actually, you know what? Parting would have won outright because if he did X 2020 hindsight, but I'm just mentioning it. When instead of going for the Robo bait, he went for the Dark Shrine. He already had an Observer out, and there were. I mean, Scarlet didn't build any spores because there wasn't any Robotech or Stargate tech going on with it. But usually, Zerg has spores. But in this case, she didn't. So if she brought the Observer there and warped in like 5 ETs, kill the Nidus, and then just kill all the Storm hosts, that would have been it. But
yeah. So and there was a time where he did pick off a few, like quite a few Storm hosts a few times, but Scarlet was still like in an okay spot afterwards. Like I said, I think she won it pretty early on, but then she started to get careless and started to throw some things away. But even after being careless, like she was still able to scrape out a win.
Yeah, after Scarlet lost all her Storm hosts from Nidusing the back of Parting's natural, I thought that like was really bad initially, but then I took a closer look and
the supply and shit and.
Well, the supply actually was pretty close. It was like 100 to 80 something, so it wasn't god awful.
Yeah. And, but it was really close after she had just lost like 10 to 15 Swarm hosts like for free.
Yeah.
You know? And then the fact that like Parting didn't have his natural mining and shit, like
it was in fact it like wasn't even building. He couldn't build it either. There was still a lot of creep on it. Yeah, and then also Scarlet was ahead by like 12 workers, 10 workers, something like that, and she had the third finished at that time. So yeah, I think Parting died pretty early, but later into the game, Parting got like he was playing with fire. He had like way too much confidence with his units because Scarlet had 6 Vipers and a bunch of Swarm hosts, and Parting was trying to like poke around. He had a lot of Templars, and like if Scarlet like messed up and threw her Vipers in, I guess that could have been bad. But the amount of Locusts and like there were only 3 Colossus, it just wasn't enough to be able to poke around safely and not be essentially committing suicide.
Sure. There's this really shitty point in time as a Protoss player when you're playing PvZ and the Zerg is committing to Swarm hosts where you have to make the decision early on. You're doing one of two things. You're either going like, all right, Colossus timing, like maybe with Storm, maybe without, but some kind of big timing attack where I'm just going to try to kill him outright or cause enough damage to carry me to the late game, or fuck this shit, I got, like 4 Colossus, throw down 3 Stargates, and just start working towards Tempest immediately. The worst thing that you can do is get, like, Quagmire down, where you're in, like, this kind of, like, Colossus, High Templar versus Swarm Host, but you didn't ever start any Stargates, so you're not actually building towards the late game, because I feel like Protoss will just slowly lose the game, as long as the Zerg doesn't fuck up, the longer that the game goes on. And I think you kind of saw that with Parting, where, like, he kind of got stuck on like that Colossus no tech route, like I say no tech but no Stargate route. He didn't have the Mothership Core, which is really important when dealing with Locust, and he didn't have any Stargates out for Tempest, which is also really important. So it was like,
Yeah, he felt like.
Are they cool? Do you like? It sounds like you like using them. Have you ever? Yeah. Do you ever play Protoss against Swarmhost, or like do the Protosses complain a lot? As a Terran player, we don't see Swarm hosts that much. Like some people have started using them after mutas, but this unit just always struck me as like incredibly dumb in terms of just like where it fits in StarCraft. But the really long games kind of went away.
Kind of. I mean, The reason why the Swarm House is dumb is because the Swarm House was supposed to be brought into StarCraft 2. Remember why the Swarm House came in? It was because Blizzard was saying, "Oh, Zerg can never break, people that are turtling. So let's bring the Swarm House in to speed the games up." But then they did the exact opposite of that. It was like, well, that's yeah, that's why the Swarm House was brought in, because it was like, all these races can turtle, Sentry's force field. It's not fair that Zerg can't ever do anything to like break through any defenses. So Swarm House will speed the games up. But they did the exact opposite. So I mean, I think that's kind of why the Swarm House is kind of dumb. But like you said, we don't see as many of like those ultra turtle games anymore. I think Swarm House are more powerful when used as timings, anyways. I think most Zergs have kind of figured that out. I agree with that as well.
Timings.
Yeah, like you kind of. You move towards them early and you try to do stuff with them rather than I'm getting Swarm Host to turn this into a 55-minute game. Like, I don't think you see Zergs do that as much anymore. Like, I guess Stefano used to do it, right? Where like, all right, I've got 12 Swarm Hosts, time to make 42 spores, and fuck you. Like that. Like I don't think you see that kind of play as much anymore.
Yeah.
Do you disagree, Midday? Would you?
Sometimes I would. Well, sometimes when you play against players who open with certain playstyles or builds, like, of course this is my fault, but it happened before. But I was playing and I moved forward with my Storm Host. I only prefer to move as far as my creep, but like so I can actually run if bad stuff happens. But sometimes I go a little further. And that game, I put my Storm Host in front of his natural and I sieged him. And I'm like, okay, and everything was going well. And the guy, he won, but this is how he did it, and it was in the most ridiculous way ever. My Locust came in and he realized that he was slowly getting broken. All he did, all of his units that weren't stalkers, he didn't move them. They just blew up and died to all the Locusts. He had 3-4 Colossus. He just let them sit there and he blinked all his stalkers to the side and then beat me in a base trade. I was like,
oh sure,
okay. But I think it's easy to die to Protoss harass if you're not careful with your Swarm Hosts, and especially if you move them out or overextend. And also, I feel like it's a very secure playstyle to just sit back and let them try to do the work. And
I mean, it's definitely secure. It's definitely secure. I just don't think you see as many people do it anymore. Sorry, go ahead.
It just depends on what your opponent opens to, because there's some instances we saw a while ago, and this is still totally doable, but where Revival and against Tuck and WCS was going Roach Swarm Host and was doing super aggressive plays. If your opponent opens with certain things, you can do that too. Just like how if your opponent opens with Twilight Robo third base, no Stargate, you can go Roach Lane at the Muta. But yeah, that.
All right, so let's talk real quick before we move on to the next topic. Let's talk early game. You scout that. What do you do to get around it? You say, okay, I see you're going 2-base Swarm Host. How do you stop it?
One last thing I want to mention about Swarm Hosts before we go into that is that I feel like Swarm Hosts is the only Zerg playstyle that will work against every other Protoss playstyle. I feel like if a Protoss player plays defensively and really solidly, because a lot of Zerg builds are based off timings 16 Hydras into Mutas, or Hydraling into Mutas, or the Roachling aggression into Mutas and stuff like that, or maybe Roach Hydra and Muta. Well, yeah. I feel like Swarm Host is the only playstyle that will work 100% of the time against Protoss, no matter what playstyle they do.
Wow.
Unless they proxy 2-gate you or something and kill you. Yeah.
Kevin, you got anything on that?
I'm not going to touch that.
All right, moving on. So, you're going 2-base Swarm Host. Steven.
Is that because you don't have any valuable input, or is that because you're just watching the chat, QXC?
Teach us.
All right.
Steven, how do we defend 2-base Swarm Hosts?
No. How do you... how do you defend? What do you...
That was your question.
You're correct. You phrased it differently, and I'm stupid.
Oh, and on the stream, I'm showing up as a fox because that's what my Skype picture is. And I disconnected for a moment because my internet is Canadian, so...
I thought that was your spirit animal.
Might want to recalibrate that.
Oh my god, someone tell me how to defend against 2-base Swarm Hosts.
As Protoss, if you open, you just have to fucking do some shit. I don't fucking know. I go back and find some replays where I lose to it.
Most of the time...
Just think about it. Just remember.
Whenever I lose to 2-base Swarm... with 2-base Swarm Hosts, the Nidus and all that crap, it's either the Protoss defending well when they go... Well, they can do a number of openings. They can open Phoenix and still survive as long as they get a fast robo.
So you just make lots of Colossus.
You make lots of Colossus. You defend properly. Proper utilization
What
of
is
force fields.
defend properly? What?
I'm explaining right now. I'm explaining right now. Proper
Yeah, let him
utilization of
fucking finish. God damn.
proper utilization of force fields is good. Sometimes cannons can be good. People think that they're useless. They're like, oh, they only like shoot and stuff like that. No, they're useful. And what happens is that there's like a slow buildup of Colossus, and depending on how the Zerg player reacts, like sometimes Zerg players can eke in a third base, and then they can build some drones in there. And then after a certain point of time, like the amount of Colossus they have versus the amount of Swarm hosts you have, if you build more Swarm hosts, it doesn't really do anything. Because the locusts just die anyways. So at that point, you just want to allocate your gas into like Aspire and get Corruptors. And since they've been like building Colossus the whole time, and like if you manage to squeeze in that third base while the whole thing's been going on, then you can like pull Corruptors out of nowhere, and like Corruptor Queens with the transfusion stuff will be able to break them pretty well. And the mobility is really good. You guys probably don't know who he is. Kevin, you definitely know who he is, but VPro, I remember doing the build against him, and he just plays super safe all the time. And even though he got like 4 or 5 Phoenixes, he just got like a really fast robo. And when I was sieging him, he already had like a forward pylon on my side of the map, 7 gateways, with like warping cooldown ready, and then he already had his first Colossus on the way in. I was like, okay, well, okay, I guess I lose.
So basically, make fast Colossus and then do something aggressive on their side of the map.
Eventually, you'll just steamroll them,
So you could
and
go
this
Warp Prism, Dark Templar or something like that.
that's what parting did. Um,
Would you be?
and
That doesn't. That seems like too much gas. You want to go
it's a
constant
risk.
Colossus production with a Dark Shrine and a Twilight Council and making Dark Templar. It seems like it would make more sense to just constant Colossus and then just like a bunch of gateways, so you can actually put all your gas into the Colossus and units to
The
support them.
way the way that the timing works out, there is a window. I'm almost positive I did this enough to know this. Even if you perfectly execute this two base Stormhost build, there is a window where if Protoss rushes, I say rushes, but gets out Colossus like reasonably fast, when they get like 2 to 3, maybe not even 3, maybe just 2 Colossus and have enough like force field and stalkers where they can find your swarm host, steamroll through 1 or 2 waves of locusts, force field, and then just rape your shit. Like absolutely fucking annihilate you if you're not careful. You have to be really careful in terms of like running back to the Nidus. If the Protoss is able to do that one time where they chase you back into their Nidus, all they have to do at that point is be proactive about scouting. If they don't let you Nidus anywhere near their base anymore, then you're stuck in like a really awkward land where you can Nidus like halfway across the map and try to like locust your way like back to the Protoss. But then if the Protoss is being active with their units, like if the Protoss has their army on the map, you can't ever really like drive all of your Stormhost to the Protoss base and just like sit there and camp because there's too many opportunities for them to come around and fuck you, right? Like your ass is exposed way the fuck out in the open if you're way bent over trying to get your hands all up in the Protoss's base. You can't just start sending waves of locusts towards the natural expansion if the Protoss's army is somewhere on the map because he's just gonna walk behind you and kill all your shit, you know? And
Yeah.
if the Protoss gets on top of your swarm hosts and he's got enough force fields available, everything's gonna die. The wave that comes out won't save you because everything will get force fielded in. Colossus will just fucking dust back and forth with their big fucking laser beam brooms and sweep all your shit to the fucking floor. You're fucked completely.
Yeah. All right, so we are going to move into a quick break, and then when we come back, we're going to talk. We've done our TVP. We're going to talk TVP meta. Then we're going to talk TVT meta. We're going to talk about the finals. We're going to talk about actually. So it's going to be Cure and Trap, Polt and Bomber, and then we're going to talk Bomber and Cure. So we will be right back, folks.
My Starcraft is ready to go and everything too, by the way. So.
Oh, by the way, I still show up as a fox on stream.
Jadon was only quoting when he picked him up knowing that he was going to be a good one. What do you even say with that? So dirty.
Okay, I thought I pressed something wrong.
You did. Where were you at?
Okay. You broke everything. Alright, I'm ready.
All right, we are back. So we're going to get into this. We're going to actually go straight to the show match. So next time, things will be much smoother and we won't have all these delays. But one of our guests is going to have to leave soon, so we're going to get this kicked off. Dun dun dun. So, moving that. Let me get us into the game. Bazinga. Cool. All right. So first map, we're going to go into the banned maps for King Sejong Station, Merry-Go-Round, Catalina, and Foxtrot Labs. So the first map up is Nimbus, followed by Overgrowth, and then Deadwing.
Let's go. I'm ready. Wait, are we going to stay on the call?
No, you guys are going to
No.
Because
Talk shit to each other while you play? This is like always been a dream of mine.
Thanks for
Combat
the
X. Yeah, Combat X versus anyone else. I've always wanted in the Skype call. Naniwa versus Idra in the Skype call. How much money? How many viewers? That's like, you realize, you want to save Starcraft 2? That's a 150,000 viewer event right there. Is Naniwa versus Idra in a stream Skype call.
best of 7. No, best of 9.
Oh my
Make sure that it goes
God.
the full.
Steve, I can't invite you.
That's because I sent my shit so that random fucks can't invite me. Are you mad? Okay, now you can. Sorry.
Jesus Christ.
He's not gonna help you now, son.
Hide match history.
It's on the left side. There's a button that says Game Privacy. You click that and then go to Hide Match History.
Does anybody know the bar?
Got
Is
it.
that Destiny? No, it's not Destiny.
All right, got it.
Who's the random guy in the lobby?
So I have previous experience with letting randoms into the lobby. Don't let it happen. Please kick him.
Jesus Christ.
All right, go. Go.
Okay.
Go. Start it.
All right, get out of the call, you two.
Two of the call.
Jesus goodness Christ.
Well,
All right, I think this is a successful show, right? Our viewership dropped by 700 from last week, but that's all right.
well, it's because you don't have EG's very own gun control on here. This motherfucker.
You just say EG's very own in control.
Yeah.
So, how about them Yankees?
What? I don't watch baseball. I couldn't even make a joke if I wanted to.
Oh man, I'm a shit observer. You want to do it?
Yeah, sure. Put me in, coach. I hosted a tournament once where I observed.
I'll let you tournament. Hey, when's the next one?
Whoa, what's this yellow thing at the top? Oh, game data is currently being downloaded. I'm sorry. Alright. Are we doing this? Are you watching me?
Are you not in the game?
Yeah, I'm in the game.
All
Why?
right, you are. All right, yeah, we're watching you.
Okay. We just doing this like a normal show match?
Yep. All right, so
None of my textures have been downloaded, so everything is like really like blurry and shit. It's really cute. This is like the cutest I've ever seen. Okay, I'm sorry. So spawning in the bottom left, we have from Team Colonel, we have Midday. In the bottom right, also on the same team, we have QXC. I always see Colonel when I see their fucking abbreviation. I don't know why they chose COL.
I like that though. Team Colonel was good. So the way this is going to play out, since we don't have another caster, another person with skill, I'm going to guess as well as I can. I'm going to try to do some casting, but we understand that Destiny is the resident expert of the two of us, and I will be making dumb comments. He will be calling me out on them, and we'll go from there.
Wow. Have you thought about you should make like get this on the Team Liquid calendar and everything?
I did not. I made it on the calendar. I did not link my stream to it when we started. I've never done that before, so I now know. Lesson learned. So what we got going on?
I don't have any sound. Do you think it's because it's not downloaded yet? Oh, this is so weird. I've never played Starcraft 2 undownloaded before. Alright, it's okay. What do we got going on? Pretty normal game. We got a 15 hatch from the Zerg here. Going gas before pool. And the pool going down. And we have QXC doing, maybe Hellbats?
Yeah, no gas, Reaper. Or no gas, so no Reaper. I like this play. I saw it from, we saw it from Bomber against DRG. He doesn't go gas. He positions his Marines in a way that Overlords aren't going to get in the scout, and he was really, really greedy. Now this was on even Overgrowth, 2-player map.
Mm-hmm.
It was really nice play. He went for a quick 3cc, and he just denied the scout, and then he had that rip-roaring Bomber economy.
Yeah, I mean, it's completely possible. Sometimes people used to go, they would go barracks, and then they would just get the Marines on. They wouldn't even build the Reapers, so they can get Hellbats out that much faster. But, I mean, like you said, there's no gas here, so obviously he's not doing that. This is a little bit, this opening here, this is very minor, but this opening is a little bit of a build order win for QXC, or not a build order win, but a build order advantage. Midday threw down that really early gas so that he could hammer out link speed, super quickly, just to be safe against any kind of early shenanigans, like, Reapers or Hellions. He'll be ultra safe against any kind of early play like that because of that early link speed. But QXC just going for the super fast third CC, he's playing perfectly into this. I say playing perfectly, really it's luck, but he's not going to be getting a Reaper. He's not going to be putting on early Hellion pressure, and there's not going to be much that Midday can do with that early link speed. He would have been better off mining minerals, taking a faster third, getting a layer quicker.
So what if I was Midday and I did scout this? I wanted to capitalize on it. Would I just immediately go for a roach bust?
It depends. If you want to be, for me, if I'm playing at this point and I haven't seen a Reaper yet, then it's like, oh, well, fuck me. He's either doing something crazy greedy, and I think that Overlord scouted that CC, and it did. So he already knows that QXC's playing incredibly greedy. So at that point, I'd be like, okay, fuck this. No more gas. I'm just going to take a third really fast, and then, drone up like crazy. Or, like you said, you could go for, a Roach Bane bust or just, a Roachling bust. I don't know what the Zerg kids are doing for all-ones these days. Something like that to try to punish it.
No, I don't remember the exact build that it was on, but it was Scarlet versus I can't remember. It was Scarlet versus a Terran, but it was on Overgrowth, and I think he was going for that fast third CC, and she just decided, you know what, screw it, YOLO, I'm going Roach Bust, and it worked out. It wasn't a planned cheese. You saw her make the conscious transition into that to counter the build. And I feel it would be effective here just because he doesn't have the tanks, he doesn't have Widow Mines, he doesn't have anything that's going to be able to take that on.
Yeah, it's also really hard in this map to hide your tech buildings. The Overlord comes in from that point. He's going to get a pretty good view on, everything going on. And, that Overlord saw a decent amount. He saw another barracks being put up. He saw the factory going up, so he knows it's not going to be matched. He can evaluate that much, seeing a second barracks going up. So, yeah, I feel like Midday's in an okay spot. He just needs to get this third drone up as soon as possible. Maybe try to use, I don't know, do you make 12 links to try to prevent the third from going down from the Terran? I guess you could do that if you think they're going to try to drop that orbital on the third super fast. I guess it's up to what Midday thinks is the best thing to do.
So what are we seeing? We see Roaches coming down, and do you think it's going to be Roach Hydra on this? Or Roach Bling Muta?
I doubt Muta. He's not mining enough gas for it. He only took 3 gases. He might be going for that Roach bust that you were talking about earlier. It's possible. It's entirely possible that he's going to try to bust him. Or do some kind of all-in. We do see the 4th gas going down now. If it was Muta, I'm 100% confident that gas could have been dropped much earlier. You see he's got 2 Evos, and he can just now start the Carapace upgrade. So he's really starving gas. He wouldn't be starting those upgrades if he was going Muta as well, so...
So when you're going Roaches about this late in the game, how much gas do you need to be taking? Especially if you're doing simultaneous upgrades.
For simultaneous upgrades, it's 5 gas probably. Will let you get Burrow and start 2-2 at a reasonable time without getting capped on Roaches. I think it's about 5 gases. Or if you're mining 4 from the very start, you might be able to stockpile enough gas to make that much. I think, but I'm not entirely sure. I'm pretty sure 5 is to be safe. I don't think 4 can do it. I think it's 5.
It's a pretty, not really exciting game. We had a little, it's going to be another Overlord dying, so I think that's going to be 2 Overlords dead. A couple Lings got roasted in the middle. And overall, it's passive game up to 10 minutes. And usually I feel that if it's the Zerg that's allowed to go passive for this long, they're the ones who get the advantage.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, especially against Bio, I don't feel like Terran have an advantage at all in the late game. In the mid game, Terran is pretty fucking strong. I would say probably stronger than Zerg in the mid game with the the medevac speed bullshit, or the medevac speed being able to harass so much, and the Widow Mine upgrade recently making those Widow Mines so powerful. But I mean, we might skip that mid game entirely and just go straight on into some crazy ass late game shit, depending on how much pressure QXC decides to put on with these units. He is starting to move across the map. QXC is a pretty aggressive player, so pretty strange to see that he hasn't done anything up to 10 minutes. Like QXC is usually somebody who's known for like rampant aggression sometimes.
It's a pretty good force. I mean, there's only 4 roaches on the field and 6 Erlings. Now that Q dying, I think QXC is in a great position to take this game right now.
There's no way he'll end it. There's enough coming out from Midday that he should be able to hold this off. But QXC might be able to do a decent amount of damage here, but not anything.
See, that's why.
No, it's not good.
Yeah. All right. So we do have the Hydras. We do have a lot more units out now. We were looking at it's production units, 5 Hydralisks, 11 Roaches. Yeah. With what he has now, he's definitely not going to be pushing in like that again anytime soon. Doesn't lose that one.
That was close. That could have been bad.
So upgrades, we've got a 1-1 done for both of these players now, and on the way we have 1-1 now for QXC. So it looks like Midday has stopped his upgrades.
Did he make the armory ever? Oh wait, Midday. I'm sorry, Midday is not getting 2-2. Okay, yep,
yeah.
Right. Also getting supply blocked really bad here. He needs to like pop out like 5 or 6 overlords, so he doesn't have to worry about this for the rest of the game. Being supply blocked is really annoying. I don't know how this is going to play out. I don't ever do Roach Hydra versus Terran. I know there are some Zergs, or actually when I think there's like one European guy that does it a lot, but I have no experience.
There's a lot of Widow Mines and bunkers. This is not a good place to engage.
Yeah, I mean, roaches are really fucking strong, though. I mean, it's really hard to say. The Widow Mines are doing a lot of work, though.
The QXC needs to repair these bunkers. That's an issue. Oh, saves one of them. He's gonna play it.
Yep, and it looks like he does hold, maybe? I don't know. Like I said, roaches are really fucking good. In the early game, Roach Hydras are really strong against Terran. QXC doesn't have that critical mass of bio, not even close to it. So I think there is a possibility of Midday doing a decent amount of damage here, but as I say that, another wave of Marines comes in and sweeps things away, so QXC does end up surviving. Taking a look at the workers killed, he only lost 9 SCVs there. I thought that was going to go a lot worse for him, but that wave of reinforcements came in just in time.
Yeah, that was close. I mean, so I feel if he had been a little more quick on the SCV pull to heal up those barracks or the bunkers, I think he would have held that a little better. Maybe not lost all of those units. But then again, he did have those Widow Mines built in that probably would have, a little splash damage on the healing SCVs. So I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. Pulling the SCVs earlier to repair probably would have been better. I mean, you looked at that and you said that the Zerg probably shouldn't attack into it. QXC was probably thinking the same thing. There's no way he'll attack into all these bunkers and my mines. So that's probably why the pull was a little bit late. He couldn't believe that he's actually going to attack. But
yeah, so QXC production-wise, we're only seeing 1 siege tank at a time now. Obviously, my play experience doesn't matter, but I do see a lot of pros. And he is going to go for the double tank. He does see that it's Roach Hydra, and I think it's very smart to go for that double tank production. Because it's very easy to get just swarmed by the Zerg if you don't have that big tank back.
Midday making a little bit of an error there. He probably should have targeted that medevac with the Hydralisks ASAP, but good defense down here. He's already got some spores up. A little bit wonky in the positioning, but he's not going to lose anything here. Nothing significant at least.
No.
Oh, and the Queen comes down to target the medevac. That's good. Medevac will go down. All these units are gone.
That was a good hold.
Yeah. 2-2 upgrades almost done for the Zerg. He's going to be really late to 3-3, though. That's really unfortunate. Upgrades are so important in ZVT. Really, in all the matchups now, upgrades are pretty damn important. So to see that infestation pit start, even though QXC's infantry is like almost a fourth the way to 3-3, over a fourth the way, almost half the way now. But yeah, that's pretty painful. Wow, big attack at the front. I'm not even watching. Sorry. He had a good surround and a good concave, but I think QXC's up to like that decent massive bio where I don't think Roach Hydra will work anymore. I think you have to augment it with like either Vipers or Infestors or something. Midday had a good concave there and he still lost that fight. Like half of QXC's units when you were fighting, they're like running around in the back. I think Marine Marauder combo was so good against Roach Hydra.
Do you think you just need the health bars on for just the injured units, right? You don't need them on for everyone?
For me personally, I have it on for everything, but I'm an asshole. I like having it on always. But just injured should be fine.
Cool.
I don't know. I'm liking. I think QXC's in a very strong position here.
Absolutely, maxed out, lots of tanks. He's now getting the high ground. I think he's
Midday
solid.
trying to do like some kind of attack from two directions, but it doesn't really matter that much. And his back force is way late in getting there. Oh, and here
He's gonna lose some tanks though.
Yeah, but I don't think it matters. QXC's bio force is way too strong right now. There needs to be. You need infestors. You need something to deal with all this bio. Roach Hydra won't do it effectively at these small numbers. And Midday GG's out.
All right.
Is it a best of 3 or best of 5?
Best of 3.
Okay.
Keep it quick. That's what she said. All right. And thank you, Gemini, for letting me know. Yeah, I didn't put it up on TL. I put it on TL. I didn't link the stream. That's the first time I've ever put something on Team Liquid like that. So that's a lesson for me. Next week, we'll be up. But we're creating the next game. It's going to be on Overgrowth. Overgrowth, Steve. Not to bring up, okay, not to pick at an open wound, but your game against Ruff on Overgrowth. Now, I know that Ruff isn't a conventional player. I know that comparing anything to Ruff and what happens on Ruff, but that's the last game I remember seeing you play on there. So I guess as a Zerg player, what's the advantage you look to take on Overgrowth, and what are you afraid of?
Overgrowth, I think all comes down to how fast you can spread creep out towards like your 3rd and 4th. You get creep spread out there, it's a pretty easy game playing versus bio, I think, because you can hold all 4 bases relatively easily, and the attacks against and defending against Terran are pretty straightforward. So you have to hide the match history.
I did.
Oh.
What happened?
I don't know. Oh, you're not playing.
I think QXC makes a good point. I don't need to be playing Midday. That's not going to give anyone any sort of benefit. All right. Starting again. I tell you what. Some people were in the chat were calling QXC an asshole. I personally enjoy the shit he says. I enjoy that attitude. Like we're planning a dinner at Red Bull Detroit, and I'm talking with Puck, and I'm like, we're trying to separate 2 groups, and everyone drives separately, and I'm trying to make sure everyone's coordinated and knows where we're going. And he just turns to me and says, "Quit being a fucking pussy, and let's go to dinner." And we had never had any relationship or talked before, so it was just kind of like a, you don't expect that from someone you don't know. So
Yeah, he's a pretty straightforward dude.
yeah. We don't have enough of that. So anyway, I'm sorry, interrupted you. So what are we looking for? What do you want to do as a Zerg?
I don't know. I think it all comes down to how quickly you spread creep to your 3rd and 4th. Are you looking at my vision right now?
I'm gonna do the intros real quick.
Up
in the top right, we are on an upswing. You can feel it surging through the ladder. Ladies and gentlemen, with the power of Terran, it is QXC. And in the bottom left, he's down 1 in this extremely important show match of the century. Give it up for his teammate, Midday.
Wow, such intro.
Right? You're right. You've got the camera.
So, As Zerg, you want to get creep spread over here. This is like the money area. I don't think you can see when I click and drag, but like all up in this area, getting the creep over here is like the most important shit. And then like all out in here, because this is where the Terran is going to be attacking. And as Terran, your goal is to make sure that this area stays clear of creep for as long as possible. You keep creep clear all of here. It makes it really hard for the Zerg to take a third, or I'm sorry, take a fourth. And then you come down and you like cut them off. You can snipe a base down here. You can snipe a base up here. As long as you've got the creep clear out of this area, you're good to go. I think Terran looks to end the game as the Zerg is going for a fourth on this map, usually, I think.
Yeah, so I'm definitely scared of a Zerg getting a fast base on this map. And again, my experiences don't really matter too much, but I think that a lot of Terrans experience a lot of success if they prevent a third on this base. Like, if they can keep the Zerg down to 2 bases, they will do a lot better than if they get a 3-base economy and then get into that Roach Hydra.
Yeah, but if Terran is trying to keep Zerg from even getting 3 bases, that's pretty all-inish on the Terran. I think normally you're looking to stop the fourth from going up, I think.
Okay. All right. So, I guess, what play do you not want to see from the Terran? Do you not want to see tanks? Do you not want to see mech? Do you not want to see...
I mean, on this map, I don't really care as much. Like I said, I think this whole map comes down, in my personal opinion, the entire map comes down to creeping this up. If I have this whole area creep, that means I get a fourth for free. It means I can bridge out to take my fifth. Really relatively easily. Fourth. No, and this is not super standard, but not ultra rare. Building this, I actually don't like this early bunker play from Terran. I think that Terrans end up sacrificing too much to get this early bunker out, and the Zerg doesn't really lose much. I'm still gonna make queens as I normally do. I'm just gonna like be a little bit more careful. The Reaper's not gonna be doing any damage. It's gonna be a little bit annoying. I really don't like this bunker play from QXC, but we'll see if we can turn it into something more.
I feel like it's something that used to work a long time ago, and the Zergs just realized, we don't really have to be that scared of it.
Maybe. Well, the big difference was the way that it used to work was that bunker would actually go into the Zerg's main base on the ramp between the main and the natural. That was really annoying because then all of a sudden you couldn't transfer drones from one base to another. You had to watch your rally points. Like the Reapers could go out and harass another base and then run back to the middle. Like that was really, really, really annoying at the time. So I think that was a little bit different. Midday right now is over defending very hard against this. He made a lot of lings that aren't going to help him with anything. These lings aren't going to do anything. He'd be better off just making drones and mining more. And making all of these lings, he's cut himself off from getting the 4th queen, which actually would be helping here. A 4th queen would be way more important than just 3 queens and a bunch of useless lings. Although I say that, and he's probably going to end up just straight up killing this bunker. So I mean, what do I know? He will kill the bunker.
He's not going to lose those Reapers anytime soon, as long as he's controlling them, right? Speed isn't even on the way. Speed is on the way. It's actually about to finish.
Yeah. Yeah, I still feel like this is a little bit of over defense. I mean, these Reapers, even if they didn't kill a ton of drones, they were able to force like 12 lings, which is like 6 drones worth of minerals. Like you didn't necessarily kill him, but he kind of did because he killed the lings anyway. So I don't know if this was the best defense for Midday, and I think that ultimately I think QXC is pretty happy about everything he was able to force. Look, 10 more lings coming out now. Why? What's he gonna do? He sees the factory. Midday sees the factory there. He's not gonna be able to pressure the space at all. These things aren't gonna do anything with Reaper with Hellions coming out.
Nope. And that was a lot. I mean, do you think that was a safe? I guess if he forced a lot of lings out and he's got 3 Reapers and these Reapers are gonna back up the Hellions that come out. But really, it's all been great for QXC, right?
For sure, QXC's in an amazing spot right now. QXC's almost already won the game, in my opinion. Maybe I think he's in a really good spot. I don't agree with this at all. I don't know what the fuck just happened here. If QXC didn't think this was gonna happen, or
oh, he gets one. Damn.
That other Reaper, the other Hellion's gonna die too.
Yep. No more hit. There we go. Those guys are done. So okay, that was a good catch up. I mean, you got 200 minerals, 250 minerals, 50 gas.
Yeah, losing those 2 Hellions kind of sucks. It's going to be that much longer before QXC can push out. He needs to not lose. He's going to lose like an SCV for here. Oh, wait, maybe not.
No.
Oh, not bad, okay. Then I just pull him in time. We do see the relatively early 3rd going up. No, I mean, that's not really early. It's pretty standard. Zerg 3rd timing going up. QXC wants to be harassing this right now with Hellion Reaper if he can, but he lost those 2 Hellions, so I'm not sure if he's going to be able to now. And he's not going to replace them either. Typically, Terrans here would have 6 Hellions, 1 or 2 Reapers. Having only 4 Hellions is pretty different. Looks like he's going to move out on the map anyway to see if he can pressure that 3rd.
Now, it is good to pressure. He's got the Roach Horn, though, is... Where are we at? Roach Horn is done now, right?
Oh, interesting. He's still going for roaches.
Yeah. And, I mean, at this point, I don't think it's a bad position. You know, QXC only has four Hellions. And if they were to... You know, I don't think QXC's going for Hellbats anytime soon. I don't see an Armory going down. So they aren't really going to be tanky at all.
Yeah, I guess so. It's going to be a matter of whether or not Midday is able to get Infestors or Vipers out earlier than he did last game, because last game it was way too late.
Nope.
We'll see if he learns from the last game and gets him out a little bit quicker.
Yeah. So QXC does have a little bit to harass. I do see, you know, that. But Midday did get this base down. It's going to be a lot easier to get that creep spread you were talking about.
Yeah. He hasn't started spreading a lot of tumors out in that direction yet. He does have 2 down. I guess we'll start to see. One thing that I like to do is I actually pre-spread Overlords over there, and he's got 1 there, and I just start dropping creep from it. That actually lets you get the tumors out much farther, much quicker. Because then as soon as they finish, you can immediately creep out to the max distance instead of waiting for the creep to spread.
Yep, so QXC going to put a 3rd base down now. He's got 1-1 halfway on the way. +1 range is a little further ahead for Zerg missiles. A little further ahead for the Zerg.
Yep, and we see Midday running around in here. Sees the 3rd going down. It's important to note. Although if the turn was still on 2 bases at this point, that would be very peculiar.
So I guess if we want to make this like somewhat educational, what's something you see bad players doing on this map? Is either race a mistake that's usually made in this matchup?
Not getting... I mean, I don't know. It's just... This is a pretty standard ZVT map. For Zerg, it would be not getting your 4th down early enough. Like, there's no reason, I guess, for Midday, like, why Midday couldn't have his 4th down now. His 3rd is fully saturated. He just has to send a drone on over and make it. I mean, the gold would actually be really good, too, if you're going for Roach Hydra, because you actually super benefit from those extra minerals. And the supply is important as well, so I think not getting the 4th down early enough would be a big mistake on the Zerg part. For the Terran part, I would say the biggest mistake you can make is not being preemptive about cutting the Zerg's creep spread out. QXC should probably be parked on the watchtowers, making sure that Zerg can't even get creep outside of their natural, like down that ramp or whatever, would be pretty big. Or like, you know, where the gold and whatnot is. Just poking and being aggressive, not letting the Zerg just spread creep freely. That's always a bad idea.
So what is the time that you want to get that 4th down? Is there like is it a position in the game?
The second your 3rd is saturated, fucking get that 4th down immediately after, in my opinion. As soon as it's saturated, just do it. There's no reason not to. The extra 300 minerals is never going to save you from an attack. I mean, what is that? That's 12 more Zergling? That's never going to be... I mean, I think never. It's possible, but it's highly unlikely that it's going to be the difference between you surviving or dying from, you know, a big Terran attack is 12 lings.
Oh. Alright, so QXC is going to go in for drop. There's nothing really to defend here. He is going to, you know, send his units back. He knows the drop is coming, but...
So that was good on QXC. You saw him scan, kill the tumors. He is working on getting that creep spread down. Manages to pick off a few drones up here as well. With the drop, doesn't do huge damage. 3 workers.
He does have a counterattack going, though. There's that whole bunker for him again. He's going to get some good kills here. He doesn't have to overcommit. He can just take out these supply depots, which is really annoying.
Yeah, but I think he wants to get a little bit more than that. I don't know if he can, though. Running into these bunkers again. QXC really late with the SCV pull, maybe not even believing that he would go for it. But yeah, we're seeing the last game. Look at all these reinforcements. There's no way this door doesn't do anything. We're seeing the last game play out almost. This game play out almost exactly the same as the last game. I don't think this is a good timing that Midday is hitting. I don't know if he plays people on the ladder that this timing works against, but it's not QXC. This timing I don't think is very effective.
No, and I think he should pull back now. I mean, even with those SCVs to tank, the little bit of Hydra's going to rip.
Yeah. It looks good. Midday keeps looking like he's almost got it, but he's ignoring the fact that the reinforcements from QXC are just going to continue to stream in.
Yeah, now he's got 2 tanks. He needs to pull back. He needs to take that 4th, which he still hasn't taken.
Mm-hmm. And he needs to get Infestors out. Infestors or Vipers, something that has to happen. That already needed to happen. He's already late on it. The Midday's in... I don't think Midday can win this game at this point. He's down in upgrades. QXC's already started his 3rd attack upgrade. I'm sure Armor 3 is on the way soon. This Midday doesn't even have the Infestation Pit, let alone, like a Hive or, Infestors coming. Infestation Pit just goes down now. Fourth is going down super late. Tons of resources floating. Even if he maxes out right now on Recharger, like, I don't know, I feel like Midday's in a really, really bad spot right now. A very bad spot.
He's late, or I think he was in a good position. He had enough units for a defense, and
Yeah. When he had that big army earlier, he should have said fuck it and just went for like rushed to infestors or vipers after taking out just like maybe like the depots on the left. There's no reason to suicide the entire army. This attack is not going to work. There's no way. There's no world. There's no universe that exists where this attack does any amount of damage.
Hey, he's just throwing the supply away, man.
Murktide is not such a cheap army to replace, especially all the Hydralisks.
Good game. All right, so QXC's the winner. I guess let's get them back into chat and we'll chit chat about it. Oh, we're gonna pull this up. Give us 1 second. Oh yeah, such Gosu. Hey. So, that game, right?
Yep.
I'll wait for Kevin to get back in here.
Yeah.
Oh, what's up?
Kevin. All right. So, I guess we'll let Midday go first. Midday, what are your thoughts on game one? What are you thinking after the game? What should you have done differently?
I think I'd have to watch the replay. I don't think there was a point where I macro got like, where I did anything wrong in terms of macro in the early game, which means that, I don't know. You came in with the attack and killed a bunch of drones to the third, which is like the first thing in my mind that I want to prevent. So I guess I should just press buttons faster. In other words, macro. Like that's all I can come up with on the spot. And then later on, with the attack, really the only thing that comes into my mind that game is just like I should have played better, macro better, would have had more stuff, been able to fight.
All right, Kevin. So you went for that fast 3cc.
Yeah.
What was your thought behind that? Was it just you knew he wasn't going to be aggressive enough on it, or was that a gamble?
I don't cheese as much as a lot of people, and usually when I do more gimmicky or risky builds, they're on the aggressive side, and so I'm just trying to mix up some more risky play that's on the economic end of things. So I just took that risk and went for that, and it paid off really well.
Okay, there we go.
I was within the margin of being economically ahead basically the entire game. When your Overlord came into my base at like 7 minutes and you saw the third CC was already done, you should have cut as many corners as you could, maybe even taking like a really early fourth or something. Because it's just a really hard position. You were never more than like 10 workers ahead of me.
So what do you... now this is just a thought from the peanut gallery. I was thinking that maybe if he had scouted that a little earlier, he could have just, cut everything and gone for a bust. Would that have... when you didn't have the factory?
Sure. So the type of bust that I think you're considering would be like something that hits at, let's say, 6 or 7 minutes. Mm-hmm. Which means you have to commit to doing that build by like 5 minutes.
Right, true, yep.
Which is just not... it's not possible to scout it in that particular game.
Right.
And part of the reason I put the command center where I did is because once I scouted that he wasn't above me, I knew that the amount of time it would take for an Overlord to get to that far right location would be really, really long. And so I was basically just playing the odds of, is my opponent going to do some early timing against me, rather than, is my opponent going to be able to scout this and then react to it in time? Because I knew that wasn't really possible. Like, when the Overlord scouted it at 6 or 7, maybe he could have taken all of his gases, throw down a Roach Warren at Baneling Nest.
I scouted your stuff at before 6:30.
Yeah, sure. So let's say
Yeah.
right at 6:30 you put everything towards doing an all in. Then maybe it would work. But again, even like Roach Bane, you're usually committing to it. Uh, you're like already mining gas as you're taking your third hatchery type of situation.
What I was doing wasn't all in the first place.
Were
Yeah,
you?
but well, yeah, but it hit later. That 1/1 Roach Hydra all in is super strong. I think
What time did I hit you at?
I'm fast forwarding around.
So while you guys try to find that spot, Kevin, I have a question. You ever? So you had the calculation like, okay, I know if he's up here, I'm going to be able to do whatever before that overlord gets into my base. Do you ever think a little deeper into Zerg, like we're X amount of time in the game? I know that I've seen this many units, and he's got 2 saturated bases, so the odds of him being able to produce more if I win this engagement is very little. Anything like that?
Um, sure, but that doesn't really have to do with the decision to go for a fast third command center like that.
Oh no, I was just referring to your example of calculating the overlord, like when they're going to arrive. So
Yeah, sure. So like the timing that he did, because it was so early and so strong, I knew that he didn't have a fourth base behind it, and
Yeah.
it's also likely that he hadn't started +2/+2,
Yep.
both of which were true, and it was just a constant rally. There's the more familiar you become, and the closer to optimal your opponents play, the more information you get about what they do, because you can say like it is literally impossible for my opponent to have this many roaches and this many hydras at whatever 12 minutes or whatever if he's saturating a fourth base, or if he's getting +2/+2, that type of situation.
okay.
And I think the all in, like it was really really close, and you did a good job of like regrouping and then coming back. But when it finally stabilized, the second time you attacked me didn't make any sense.
Yeah, I was thinking about that to myself when I was going there, but I'm like, I was sort of waiting for you to move out. That's why I was sort of standing there, and I was like, maybe if I could catch him unsieged, but and then you moved that force out, but it wasn't actually like an actual move out because your tanks weren't going out with it. So
Yeah.
when I pushed you back, I was just like, oh, his stuff's still there. Well, my hydro speed isn't done yet, so I guess I can't really run, so I'm stuck here.
Hmm. Yeah,
I feel like I feel like that timing attack that you do, I feel like it might work. I feel like that's the kind of strategy that might work sometimes, but if the player that you're playing is like really on point, I don't feel like you'll ever do a lot of damage with it. Like in every game that you played, if instead of doing that timing attack, if you would have sat with your army and you would have just been like, fuck it, infestation pit going down now, I feel like every game would have played out way more close. You would have had infestors in time or vipers, and then you could have actually fought with your roach hydra. But instead, it seemed like the games were like almost kind of macro games, but they were like disguised as macro games. In reality, it was
Yeah, yeah.
almost like an all-in. Like both
Well,
games
it
were like,
was.
yeah, like this really fucking big Roach Hydra timing attack has to do a lot of damage, or else I'm totally fucked.
So I think the only thing about that analysis is that by the time he was committing to the all-ins, he was already behind economically in both games, because I opened super greedy in the first game, and the second game I did a lot of damage with the Reaper in the bunker. So it's like, if you take a bunch of damage
feel like
and
you
you're
did.
what?
How much damage did you do? You killed like how many workers?
Yeah, and how many
he only,
wings?
he only, yeah, I was gonna say he only killed. I think he killed like 1 or 2 drones, but it was like 12 to 14 links that you ended up making to defend against that, which is like 6-7 drones worth of.
I know exactly how many links I made. Let me think. I made 10
I-
links. I
I'm-
made 10 links to fight the bunker
I'm pretty sure you made more
and
than
the
10
Reapers.
wings.
I made more than 10 later on, but that was because I knew that since your reactor was late, I felt like I could do some damage. And I did. I killed the first wave of your Hellions and a Reaper.
Yeah,
Well-
I don't think that's compensation
Worth
though.
it?
I would argue that in
Okay.
both games, by the time you committed to the all-in, you were behind economically. And so you could
Possibly,
also
yeah.
Yeah, I
you
don't
could
think so
also
too.
look at the games and be like, if he had gone macro, you would have been like, well, this is the timing where if you had just made units, you would have been able to attack him, but you played macro and then you just got steamrolled. Like, The issue, I don't think, is much the strategy as it is like the early game. You know, if you go into a game and your opponent opens gasless 1-racks 3cc and you get fast speed, don't take your hatchery super greedy, and then make some defensive lings, like, yeah, of course you're going to be behind. And anything you do is going to be weaker than it would have been otherwise.
Yeah, now that you mention that, actually, relatively speaking, like with how the game was going, your third did land sooner than what I was used to in terms of how the game was going. That's really thing. Yeah. And in regards to what Destiny said about the Infestors or Vipers thing, I think going Infestors against that kind of composition can be. Well, this is how I feel about it. If they don't move out until they have like 10 tanks, and then they move out with 10 tanks, Infestors aren't going to do shit. So I feel like just going straight for Vipers is best. And then
yeah, but I mean, any basically the thing is Roach Hydra unassisted can't do anything against when the Terran has a certain point
max
of Marine.
army, yeah.
Yeah, not even max, but like once they have so many, because Marines and Marauders are so much smaller, so they can fire so much more easier than like your giant fucking Roaches and Hydras. Like once they hit a certain amount, like you have to augment your army with either Infestors or Vipers. So yeah, I mean maybe Vipers would obviously be the superior choice, but I mean anything more than just Roach or Hydra, even fucking Baneling drops something more than Roach Hydra to fight the Marine army, the Marine.
The other thing is, after the first timing. Basically the way I look at it is when you play Roach Hydra, you get one timing before Hive. And no matter what timing that is, whether it's like, unless it's like no upgrades Roach, but basically any upgrade-based timing, you don't get another opportunity unless you almost kill the Terran player. And then, so like as soon as your 1-1 timing is repelled, it's 2-2 and Hive should be like as soon as possible, or if not Hive, then Infestation Pit and Infestors, which is like, you know, it's like layer and a half tech. It'll still make your army stronger than if it was just Roach Hydra, but Vipers or Broodlords are definitely better.
I'm not sure how much I like Broodlords, but yeah.
I don't think there's ever a place where both players are playing optimally. You can do a 1-1 timing and then do a 2-2 timing, and have the 2-2 timing work. Like if the 1-1 timing catches them and they don't have any bunkers, and you know you massacre their third, then like of course you can do another timing because you're already super far ahead. But if the game plays out like kind of how ours did, where you know Terran scouts it, they make 4 or 5 bunkers, you do your timing, you get some SCV kills. By the time you max with 2-2, you're not going to have the like 60 to 70 supply advantage that you actually want to crush through. You're going to be like 30 or 40 supply ahead, and they're going to have like 5 siege tanks and probably bunkers. And that at that point you need Hive, or you need to be heading to Hive to do something.
All right, so moving into well, we are on game 2 a little bit. I guess we were kind of talking about the bunker play at the beginning, Kevin. What is your goal? You know, obviously it's not a bunker rush per se. It's not, you know, the quick 2-racks or anything like that. It's not an 888 Reaper. What is your goal with that? Is it to pull drones, to force lings?
Yeah, it's basically just to force lings because it delays my CC a lot to do that. I get it like after the 3rd Reaper starts. But you force out a lot of Zerglings and you delay the creep spread a little bit depending on how aggressive your opponent was planning on being with the creep. And it also gives you more tempo in the game, which, you know, is kind of like you can't really measure it, but just forcing my opponent's hand, I think, is really strong. So in case you're curious, at 8 minutes in the second game, I was down 4 workers. And I have 3 command center.
It's nothing.
Right?
Whatsoever.
Yeah, right?
Well,
like,
it's not even that. It's not that the Terran's actually very far ahead there because they have meals as well, and you shouldn't be anywhere
that's
near.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Like I was really far ahead at like the 8 or 9 minute mark. We were actually tied with workers.
I got some time really hard, and that gets really bad at me.
Yeah. Well, I mean, whatever the reason is, like, if you want to look at why did the timing not work, even worse than in the first game, like, well, if you don't have an economic advantage, or you have a big economic disadvantage, like, of course, whatever you're going to do is going to be weaker. You have to hate the economics more than the strategy.
So, when you go that, is your goal to, like, did you want lings? Is that your most favorable reaction, is to have Hellions on the back end, force lings, and then deal with them easily?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, there's no way to route the bunker unless you make Zerglings. Unless my opponent wants to make, like, wait until 4 queens or something and, like, mass transfuse, but then you're just giving the Reapers so many opportunities, because basically, like, every time they get low on health, I can put them in the bunker, and then they'll heal to full, and then I can pull them out and start attacking the queens again. You keep the creep spread down. Like, I don't think anybody doesn't make 8 to 12 lings and kill the bunker like as soon as possible.
Okay. So I think between you two, it was good game seeing TVP. You know, we don't really see, I guess, that too often. You know, when we saw it, Terran versus Zerg, we did see a lot of Bling Muta, Ling Bling Muta at Rebel Battlegrounds. I think that was everything DRG went, and Scarlet, you know, she brought out the Ultralisks, Brood Lords for a little bit, and Investors. Yeah. So I mean,
It's a big stylistic thing. Like, someone like Hyun opens with roaches much more often than other players, Violet especially, and a lot of players just don't really do the Roach Hydra style.
Yeah. All right, go ahead.
I used to really hate the playstyle until they gave that Hydra 10% attack speed buff, and I'm like, oh, okay. I guess I'll give this a go, and I got better with it. So yeah.
One last question about the matchup before we move on. What is a good composition ratio for Roach Hydra? Like, you want the roaches to tank some damage, you want the Hydras to be able to deal that quick damage. So, what's too much of which?
General rule of thumb: get 16 Hydras, everything else is roaches. If you're starting to get more supply, like if it's a maxed out situation and you aren't teching, you can go up to like 24 and then just roaches. Yeah.
And how do you deal with the tank transition? If he catches it early, does double tank production? What do you switch into?
You just what happens? Like, do you attack and it doesn't work?
Well, no. You just know.
Or you aren't gonna have the tanks in time for the fight unless you like see it from like a million miles away.
Like, we're talking near close to the mid game, and so he scouted you, so you haven't really had any big engagements. And when you go for that big Roach Hydra attack, he has enough tanks to stave you off.
He did scout me in that second game, and the tanks came after the fight, or while the fight was happening, but basically after.
Yeah. So, unless the thing is that the factory is usually busy making reactors for the barracks. And so most of these timings hit kind of as you're making siege tanks. You have to like preemptively make tanks. And the other thing is a lot of players will open like a small amount of defensive roaches and then go mutas off of that. And as a Terran player, if you make siege tanks early, you're impacting your ability to actually get upgrades and things because they're so gas intensive. So most of the early timings, like a 1-1 timing, I would almost always be defending with pure bio and Widowmine support.
Okay.
It's the 2-2 timing is the only time where you really would be getting siege tanks because your economy will support it at that point. You'll have access to your gases at your third, and you'll also have sufficient amount of time to see it coming. You know, the 8 roaches that you see in the beginning, that could be defensive roaches, could be the start of a timing. For a 2-2 timing, like, you know your opponent's doing it. As soon as you see the first Hydralisk, or even just like +1 missile for roaches finish, you pretty much know what's coming and you can make the siege tanks. But Roach Hydra itself is just a very timing-based composition because a maxed out, this is what Steven was saying, a maxed out Terran army versus a maxed out Roach Hydra layer army, the Terran army always wins. Mm-hmm. Always, 100% of the time it will win, unless, you know, the Terran player really messes something up, like doesn't siege their tanks or whatever. So if you play Roach Hydra, you pick a timing, you optimize for that timing, and you attack. Because the longer you wait, the worse the situation becomes for you. And you can fight 200 versus 200, but you have to make basically a hive transition. You know, like, infestors are a little bit of a halfway. Like, infestors require you to outplay the Terran player more, in that you have to catch them by surprise, you have to get really good fungals, you have to, like, have your infestors appear from somewhere that they're not expecting and hit the big fungals. If you hit the big fungals, you can still win the maxed out fight, but it's not like Vipers or Broodlords where you can just pull tanks over and over and over, or blinding cloud on top of the tanks, and then just a move. Or with broodlords, you literally just let the broodlords attack, force unsieging, and then go with your army. Infestors require a little more finesse.
Okay, so when you're fighting late game and it's Terran with a bunch of tanks, and you with Rotarder that cannot move into that, you go for broodlords then to deal with the tanks.
Broodlords or Vipers or Infestors. Those are like the main options.
Infestors, I don't think are good versus tanks.